Welcome to Peak, Train Like a Girl, a podcast by girls in sport, for girls and coaches in sport. We're here to amplify your voice. It deserves to be heard. At Peak, we are a safe place for girls to hang out, learn, grow, and build community. We empower girls in sport and coaches with knowledge, resources, and support we think is necessary in today's athletic environments to thrive. Join us for bold conversations about experiences of girls in sport. Our discussions will make you laugh, cry, cheer, for sure get a little frustrated, and hopefully rethink the future of girls in sports for generations to come. So whether you're walking, commuting, cleaning your bedroom, or getting ready to go off to college again, take us with you. Follow us. It helps more than you can imagine. Check out our website and make sure you are sharing with a female athlete or coach you love. I am so excited to introduce you to our next guest. It's so interesting in this world of girls in sport, how genuine and authentic people are when they want to connect people who they really think can add value to each other. And that's how I met our next guest, Reagen. Reagen is a softball coach, a former softball player. She's going to fill you in on all of that. But we actually have a friend in common, and she was so sweet. She actually put us both on a group text and said, you guys have to meet each other. You have so much in common. So we've had the opportunity to chat, and we, in fact, do have so much in common. We have a lot of the same background, although our sports are completely different. We have a lot of the same certifications. And I think that's something that makes girls in sport so unique, that despite how different softball is from training a cross-country athlete, we have so many of the same struggles and issues and concerns because we are dealing with female athletes. So that was really interesting for me. I can't wait for you to get to know Reagen a little better. So are you ready to get warmed up, Reagen?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Excellent. Okay. Thin to thick crust pizza.
Oh, I think thin.
Nice. Okay. Ice cream or sherbet?
Ice cream.
Nice. Beach or mountains?
I think about this every day of my life. I think beach though, honestly.
So, just so you know, these are the hard hitting questions we
Yeah.
always ask, things that people really think deeply about.
Right. Yeah.
Have you been on a beach vacation yet this summer?
I have. Yes.
Where'd you go?
I went to Charleston, and
Nice.
earlier this year I went to Miami too.
Wow, you are a beach girl.
Oh yeah. Love it.
I love it. All right, then I have to know this. While you're traveling to all those places, 4-star hotel or camping?
I think hotel, honestly.
All right.
I wish I was the other way, but honestly, I think I'm a hotel girl.
It's so funny. It's totally one of those things we all want to answer to. Like, yeah, I'm
Right.
totally a camper, and yet we
No.
all want like 4 walls, a shower, and a bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. I totally get it. Well, thank you so much for being here. I did a little brief introduction, but why don't you get us started and tell us about your journey to being a girl in sport?
Yeah. So I have always grew up playing a bunch of different sports. I played softball, volleyball, flag football. I played really everything growing up, a little bit of basketball, but just so terrible at that. But when I got to high school, I just fell more and more in love with softball. It was such a challenge for me. I wasn't naturally super great at the sport, but I just loved how hard everybody had to work at it. And I don't know, I just kind of like fell in love with the process at a really young age, which was super cool. So I played at Grace Lake Central. I went there for, 4 years, obviously. And then I continued my athletic career and I went and played NAIA softball. So played NAIA all 5 years that I had eligibility because they gave us a COVID year. So I started my journey down in Columbia, Missouri. And then I transferred to a school in Atlanta. And then I wanted to get my master's and play my COVID year. So then I finished out at a school in Indiana. And it was awesome. I had a lot of high moments, but I also had a lot of really low moments throughout my college career. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to be an athlete that was the starter, the go-to guy. I was also the person on the field that did not see the field, or on the team that did not see the field at all. And then I was also the person that was kind of in between and throughout my whole journey, I was just able to solidify my role as like just being a really great leader, but also being a great teammate. And it led me into going into coaching right out of school. So following my 5th year, I was coaching at the school that I got my master's from. And when I was over there, I got recruited to play overseas. So then I did that for 2-ish seasons. I was back and forth my 2nd season. And yeah, the rest is kind of history. I started coaching back here in America again, but I'm kind of bopping back and forth from America to Europe and just trying to grow the game as much as possible because I just love it. And it's awesome.
Oh my goodness. I have so many questions. I don't really know a lot about softball. I mean, I
Yeah.
know I know how it's scored and how it's I actually tell you my funniest connection to softball is at the local high schools, they use the coaching staff for a lot of
Yep.
the ancillary things that go on. So one of the things that I used to love to do in the spring was because the only thing available really, because I don't know what else I would do is you're the announcer for the softball.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It was so stressful saying the kids' names that I finally had to and I'd have parents come up and they would no, this is the way you say it. And by the way,
Yes.
at the high school I went to, some of the most challenging names I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm like, dude, you can
Yes.
say it 30 times. I'm not going to get it right. You just have to give me some grace.
It's so stressful. Every single time they come up to me and they're like, what is this athlete's last name? And I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I can't even tell you because I know I'm not saying it right. I'm like, just figure it out. I'm like, everything's going to be okay. And then every time, all the girls are laughing and I'm like,
It's so true.
whatever.
And then they add in the walk up songs. I'm like, dude, I am so out.
Yeah, I know. That's a whole thing in itself.
But it is such a fun sport to watch for sure.
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, it's
is
growing
what
a
I was
lot.
getting to. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is really growing a lot. There's a couple things I want to circle back to and pick apart what you were talking about. First thing I want you to explain and just kind of keep in mind that we've got kids that are in middle school that are just getting, their feet wet in sport and kids that are high school are considering about other options. Can you
Yeah.
explain to our athletes that are on here and even the coaches that are on here what an NAIA school is?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are like 2 divisions. So the NCAA has that Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, but there's actually a whole independent, I guess another division is a good way to put it, where we also have Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3. NAIA is really primarily for like private institutions, like a lot of schools that are affiliated with a religion or just like some schools that just have a really like smaller base of what's it called?
Population.
Students. Yeah,
Yeah,
population. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, what the heck is it? Yeah, so it's really more so smaller schools. The last school I went to, we had like a really big like online presence, but we had only like 2,000 kids on campus.
Got it.
And it's really just a good opportunity for kids to get a scholarship that wouldn't get a scholarship in the NCAA. I mean, they would in the NCAA, but there's a lot more money in the NAIA. We're able to get funding privately and we're able to get funding like through the school as well too. So kids like me, I needed a scholarship. And so I was looking at, D1s, D2s, but it just wasn't enough to really pay for my full tuition. And so I kind of resorted to NAIA and there's a lot of really great talent in the NAIA. It's a little bit different. There's not as many rules in the NAIA as there is the NCAA. And this may have changed since I've been in school. But when I was in school, like you could play at any age level because in the NCAA, there's a 5-year start to finish. And
Right.
in the NAIA, it's not like that at all. Like we would have people, really like grown men, grown women that would go off and like play internationally and then they would come back and want to get their degree. So you're playing with people that are way beyond like any 18, 19, 20-year-old. And you get really good play in that division as well too. So it's a great option for kids that want to play at a high level, that want to get their education paid for and just have that small school feeling as well too.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And a couple things there. So I'm glad you talked about the quality of play because you're
Yeah.
even seeing that now when you're looking at some of the Division 3 programs, quite frankly, where you're getting
Yeah.
an excellent education and quite frankly, you are getting really good competition. And many
Yeah.
of those athletes, not all of them, but many of them could play at a higher level, but they are
Yeah.
choosing to have a different college experience.
Yeah.
So talk to me about NAIA as far as academics go. Do they compare to some of the more rigorous Division III or Division I or Ivy League academics? Is it the same academics? Because the people are going to ask. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to talk about it.
absolutely. Yeah, so not Ivy League academics. I think there's a few schools that are really like a top 5 or top 10 and whatever that they do. Academically, I think it is, I mean, it really is so individualized since they are
Oh,
private
yeah, makes
institutions.
sense. Sure.
They're able to kind of focus on different areas. Like I went to one school where they had a great criminology program. And so we had kids from all over going to this criminology program. And then there, like there's kids in sports and stuff that got the other degrees as well too. And then another one, my school was like so big into nursing throughout the country. And they really capitalized on that too. So I would say it's really similar to any kind of state school. Every school is so individualized based on, the curriculum and who's teaching it, but it's definitely competitive depending on which school that you go to. Yeah. And my second school that I went to wasn't as competitive, I would say, academically, but my third school that I went to, it was like, wow, like their academics were really top notch and they had kids that were going to get jobs outside of school at these crazy companies. And yeah, it's really just kind of depending on where you want to go and what that school is known for.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things, the attrition rate for girls in sport is high. I mean, we lose a bunch of kiddos in high school. They drop out of sport. You and I talked a little bit about that because a lot of reasons. They don't like the coach. Something was said to them they didn't like. They don't like the uniforms. They can't find a sports. I mean, there's a million reasons girls drop out of sport. And then you take that and you take the number of kids who choose not to compete at the next level because they think they want to go to one of these, I'm making a number up, but the top 25 colleges in the country. I mean, and particularly when you're coming from a high school that may have a more rigorous, academic, system, they want to get into colleges that are like that. What can you tell coaches? Because this is something I'm really starting to do more for my athletes is talk to them about opportunities at the Division II and III levels and the NAIA. And the number of NAIA coaches that are coming to me personally, once I kind of open the doors, the numbers that are coming to me and they're genuinely interested in our athletes, which I absolutely love. They're willing to talk and sit down. But I think part of the education has to come from coaches. What do you think about that? Because I know you're in coaching.
Yeah. So I feel like the coaches that don't talk about NAI or talk about the other divisions just don't really know other options. Like I'm grateful that I had the opportunity of playing NAI and I was looking at schools all across the board, whether it was Division I, Division II, or Division III. So I don't know. I kind of had that feeling from the beginning that I was like, there were other options than just that like Division I or that big state school. But it just comes to like us talking about this on podcasts and just knowing that there's other opportunities and just like kind of spreading the word about it. I mean, I'm a firm believer in NAI. Obviously, I played in it for 5 years and I coached in it for a year afterwards. There's so much opportunity in other things other than that big Division I. And the Division I just has so many rules and so many regulations, and
not to mention the transfer portal.
Yeah, the transfer portal is unbelievable right now. I mean, we have kids.
You can't even make a friend.
Yeah, right. It's unbelievable, and it just keeps on evolving. And so there's just more options than we're told about growing up. I mean, but then also those kids, they want to go and play for like the Duke or UConn or whoever, because that's who they see on TV. But there's so many options, and the game is evolving across all levels. I mean, I think if you're going to go play at a high level, Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, even like a high level JUCO, you're going to be seeing really good ball across the board.
Agreed.
I mean, to this day, I think the best team that I've ever played against was a junior college school. I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, they are hard to beat. And we were playing, we would play all these D1s during fall ball and all this kind of stuff. And it was just good softball or good, any sport is good sport at the college level, especially if you're getting to like a top 25 or, top 30 team.
Agreed. And when you're talking about bang for your buck, there's not a better deal than JUCO out there. I mean, in the fact that we don't promote that, to me is a shame. Now, there's some really good opportunity there at a lot of levels, and also from an athletic perspective and from an academic perspective. I don't want to, not talk about the academics. It gives an athlete the opportunity to develop again, to develop more before they're kind of thrown into things that are sometimes, as you mentioned, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, it is not all like, popsicles and roses once you get, into this next level, which I want to talk about. Before we do that, though, I had no idea there were opportunities to play softball overseas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I had no idea.
What does that look like?
I had no idea myself. It's kind of crazy. I was DM'd by my coach, which is like insane. My parents were like, absolutely not. You're not going off of a DM. They're like, we just saw Taken last weekend. We're not dealing with that.
Wait, that's how you and I met.
Yeah, right. Right. I'm like, all good things come from a DM. But
that's hilarious.
No. So I got DM'd by this coach. He went to Cornell and was pretty known in like baseball, softball. I didn't know him personally, but like we had some mutuals, and he was just recruiting they call us imports. So if you want to go and play from America in a European country or in Australia or, Japan or wherever, they call you an import if you're from America. And so they're asking me if you want to be an import to go play in Belgium. And I was like, in Belgium, like city, I don't even know where that is. I have no idea. I thought it was like in Germany. Yeah. And lo and behold, it's a country. And so I just jumped on the phone with him and was just like talking about the logistics of it. And I was like, okay, well, I have a full-time job here. I was working like 3 jobs at the time. And I'm like, do I just like quit them all? And he's like, yeah, like that's kind of like what we do. And then you come over here and you play for a little bit, you play for the season, and then you kind of go home and you can either continue it on or you can just like say that you ended your career playing softball internationally. And I was like, all right, that sounds awesome. And actually the day before, I'm pretty spiritual, and I was just like kind of looking for a different opportunity. Like I liked what I was doing, but I just found myself in like this like rut, just over and over, just like doing the same thing. And I was just like, okay, like God, like please like allow something different to come my way. And literally the very next day I had this DM in my inbox. And I was like, okay, I'm like, this is totally what I'm supposed to be doing. Like my heart was on fire for it. As soon as like we started talking about it, he jumped on a FaceTime with my family, talked about all the logistics of it, and we made it happen. So then I packed my bags, everything I owned fit in one suitcase, and I moved to Belgium for 8 months, which was crazy the first time. It was awesome. I loved it. I loved learning about different cultures. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like I know that places are different than America, obviously growing up, but I'm like, just being submerged in a completely different culture is just like, it's so life-changing, and it opens your eyes and it allows you to see both sides more clear. And I like learned another language. I jumped into learning French. I was the head softball pitching coach there. And so I'm teaching all these kids how to throw a ball by like being a mime. I'm like, everything is in like mime form. And I'm like, I can't like tell them how to do things. I was just like using my body and playing charades the entire time with them, just kind of navigating how to throw a ball. And it's insane. Like even when you don't have that verbal communication, there's so much nonverbal communication that you can use to teach and to coach. And it totally evolved me as a coach. I had to become so much more patient because there's not that like basic understanding right from the start. And it was the best thing I've ever done. It was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't know if you know this, but I've got kids that coach at the collegiate and the professional level. And it's interesting when your first kid tells you they're leaving the college game to go coach in, Germany or Istanbul or Australia, that you're like, or they're going to play for Team Australia. And you're like, what? You're like, is that a thing? Like, which is hilarious. But I think all of those things you talked about, the how you were able to, pivot and like rethink and just jump in with both feet and, not be afraid to fail. And then also the different coaching techniques you learned and the nonverbal things, it just goes to show you the value of sport at developing a human. And I keep harping back to this, but when you look at, the statistic that 94% of women in C-suite positions had played sports, I bet you if you broaden that statistic and talked about girls who played sports who were in positions of, I don't want to say power, that's wrong, but coaching positions, because we're certainly not C-suites, but doing things that are different or extraordinary. I'm not calling you or me extraordinary. So like, I also want to that's not what I'm saying, but doing things that are a little, not the normal progression. It's kind of like not going, unconventional, not going to the state school, going to the NAIA school, but doing things like, what if I just gave this a shot? And what happens when you give something a shot is you're able to learn new skill sets and, throw away old things and, consider new options and seeing things through other people's eyes. And I just think it opens up an entirely new world. And there's so much opportunity besides playing. And I think that's the thing that I really want people to understand. There's such a huge world outside of playing after you're done with your 4 years of eligibility. And there's so many, whether it is refereeing or coaching or being a physical therapist or a doctor or, owning a team. I mean, there's so many things that being a journalist for a team. I mean, there's so many, the social media manager, there's so much opportunity in sport, and girls in sport is just continuing to grow and grow and grow and grow. And obviously everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, but I'm pretty sure everyone knew that basketball was played internationally and running is international. But I didn't know softball was played internationally, but how amazing that there's opportunity for you after your collegiate experience to continue, basically soaking things from this thing that you love.
Yeah. No, it's such a privilege. I mean, every single day. I mean, that's why I'm in this career. I when I was in my master's, I was kind of because I got my master's in positive psychology and life coaching. So I was like, maybe I'll do some holistic health, something or other. I'm like, I just need to get away from softball. But then as soon as I put myself in a coaching position and just saw how much I could just change the lives of other people, not even change lives from a form perspective, but just allowing people to see that there's hope. There's you can do really, really hard things, and you can do literally anything you put your mind to as long as we have a good perspective with it and if our heart's in the right place. And that's what made me stay into it. I can't get away from it. I'm like, if I have a platform here and I'm able to help people just see their worth and see that they're able to do anything and be whoever they want and change the world, then I'm absolutely going to capitalize on that in softball or really any way that I can. But sport right now is just what I know, and it's the platform that I have. And I'm so grateful to just be in this season of life. It's so, so good.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And that's the thing. It's way bigger than the X's and O's. It's bigger than the times or the stripes or the hits it's bigger than that. And I think that that's something that when we were first introduced, that's something that I think we connected on, right away, is that sport is just the vehicle that gets you there. It's everything else that it opens that becomes the wonder and the awe and the, it's incredible. So what about, you did talk a little bit during your, I think it was your collegiate career, that there were, which every athletic career has a up and a down and a pause and a backward. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that from your perspective.
Yeah. So my first 2 years of college, I went to a school, and basically when they were bringing me in, they were like, all right, we're going to need you to pitch. We're going to need you to be really good and perform at a high level. Obviously, any coach would want their star recruit to come in and kind of just take care of business. But I just completely let that get to my head. I couldn't even throw a strike at one point. I went from being someone that was throwing consistently, extremely hard, hitting their spots over and over and over again, to being someone that couldn't even get the ball off the ground. And it just messed with my mind completely. You put a lot of your worth into your performance, especially at that age when you don't know any better and when your sport has been such reliable thing to boost your confidence. And I struggled a lot mentally, and what it really made me fall in love with sports psychology. And so then I started to just read a ton of mental game books, and I started to go to therapy and just working through those situations. At first, I was so resistant to it. It was so like out of sight, out of mind. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, it's not happening. It's not happening. But then every time I would step on the field, I couldn't throw a strike. So I'm like, it's still happening. But it was such like a hard like workaround, especially as an 18-year-old trying to figure it out, trying to find my feet, one as a independent person for the first time in my life, but also just like trying to be like still a good teammate or just trying to be an active part of the team. So I just kind of dove into sports psychology. I absolutely fell in love with it. I started to find things that worked really well. And in my sophomore season, I completely evolved. But as coaches, like sometimes you have mental blocks with kids, and like when a coach feels like you can't perform, they kind of get that stuck in their head. And so I just wasn't getting the opportunity that I had, which was granted. I mean, I went an entire year with not being able to throw a strike, but we had some hard conversations, and I still respect my first coach so much. Like she was really great in helping me get recruited the second time around and just advocated for me because she was so awesome. And yeah, we just kind of decided to move on and use my like learned experience and take it to a different school. So then I went to a school down in Atlanta, and I was their number one there, and I was performing at a pretty high level. Still had like some like anxiety about performance. I like still, even though it's not there as like as much as it once was, like you still get like little parts of you that like remembers those old parts. So still working through that a little bit. I had a coach that was extremely intense and super, super, super tough. I did not like her coaching style, but I'm so grateful for having that coaching style because it showed me a lot of what I would never do as a coach and a lot of different ways to approach a kid struggling. And just, I don't know, I just learned so much. Like she's one of the coaches I learned the most from. And I learned what I don't want to do. I also learned a lot about the skill set that I wasn't introduced to beforehand. So even though I didn't see eye to eye with her, I'm grateful that I had that experience of all the suffering that I went through at that school. And then also just being able to take that experience and kind of turn it into like my coaching career. Because now I know what it could be, and I know how easy it is to get kind of tied into like forcing your kids into high performance instead of just allowing them to kind of feel the things and just allow them to work through it and helping them help guide them to success instead of trying to like force something that isn't ready for that to happen in that moment. So I went from my first school being the lowest of the low, not throwing a strike on the bench, but really solidified myself as a good teammate and was able to transfer, become that number one, but then also just kind of suffering along the way with that. And then at my third school, I think it was just so perfect. I was playing every game or every series, and I was the closer. So I went from being, someone that didn't play a lot, someone that played all the time, to someone that played very like moderately. And I was like the middle guy, like the middleman. I wasn't the best. I wasn't the worst. I wasn't anything in between, but I was able to see it from all sides. Like I was able to be every single person that I see when I'm coaching my kids now. And my college experience was it really just paved a way for me to be who I am today, to be the coach that I am today, and just to help kids and just able to talk them through when we're not performing, and talk them through when they were struggling mentally, and talk them through any situation of life that comes in sport or outside of sport. Like I think my college career completely built me to this moment that I'm in right now.
That was actually I was taking a bunch of notes. So I was trying to like write and like listen. There was so much in there that was so good.
Yeah.
The idea, we talk a lot about this in sport. I talk with my athletes, the idea of anxiety, I think, gets such a bad rap because as a high performer, you need to have, you need that heart rate racing, you need a little sweat going, like you need a little of that anxiety, but the ability to be able to harness it to do good, right? So it doesn't, toggle over the top.
Yeah.
But what was really interesting to me is that you realized you were playing you weren't blaming someone. You took responsibility for what wasn't going right. Like, and even, but I don't think a lot of times people, I think at both ends, I just don't think people do that. But I think that you were able to have those experiences and take something for every experience, the good, the middle, the high, because you were willing to not personalize it.
Yeah. Well,
right?
I think I came to this because at one point I was very angry, which is
like
very,
okay, so
very,
you're
very
human.
Yeah, I'm human. I was very angry when I wasn't playing. I was very angry when my coach wasn't good to me at my second school. But I think a lot of me and my journey, and I'm just like such an advocate for healing and just like always just talking things through. But I think that's like I was able to kind of come to terms with my career and just see it from an outside perspective. But when you're in the moment, it is so easy to get caught up in all of things going wrong because everything around you feels like it's on fire. And so you're just getting mad and then you try to blame other things. But in the back of my mind, I always knew it was like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm a common factor in this, but I also was much more like self-aware, I think, than most kids are.
Yeah.
And even like parents, like I have parents all the time, you know, it's always the coach's fault that their kid's not playing, or it's the coach's fault that she's not performing well, or X, Y, and Z. Like it's always someone else's fault. And that's just a way for them to kind of, you know, keep themselves sane, I think. And that's as coaches, like that's a hard thing for us to get through because we want just what's best for the kids. But sometimes you kind of just have to take it and be the punching bag for the moment if that's what they need to kind of get through that really hard time, because the kids always come around. Like they always come around afterwards and they're like, you were great. Even if it was like 5 years later, like, I'm so sorry. Like you were so great. Like even teammates, I at my second school, we struggled a lot, and it was a lot of like girls would tell on other girls, and it was super hard and very mentally just like draining. And after the fact, like 2 years later, even now, I'm like still getting texts from some girls that I used to play with. They're like, we are so sorry that like one, we let that happen, like how you were treated, let that all happen. But two, that like we just weren't, we were so blinded by just like keeping coach happy or doing whatever. And we kind of just got caught up in it. And like, we're so sorry. Like you were such like a symbol for love at the time. And we're just sorry that we couldn't appreciate that in the moment. And like in the moment, you know, you don't get that. But like after the fact, I'm like, everything was supposed to happen exactly how it happened. And even like, I don't even know what those experiences are going to bring me even later on. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all the hardship. I'm grateful for all the, you know, all the good and bad.
Yeah, I agree. There's something to be learned in all of it. We are going to get cooled down here in a minute, but before we do, I want to let Caitlin jump in. Caitlin, do you have anything?
Yeah, I really just love the way you talk about your mentality you had throughout your sport and how it's so important to not think that your mentality is stagnant, because it is something through sport that is constantly changing throughout your environment as you change, as your level of expertise changes with your sport. It's easy to get caught up in maintaining your physical well-being with injury and getting stronger, but your mentality is just the same. And that's what Samson, I remember her helping me a lot with that. And it's just so crucial in every sport that you're able to adjust and do what is needed to maintain a healthy mentality. I know you said you went to therapy once, like getting to college and realizing that you have a bigger pool of competition, which is such a hard pill to swallow. And then it's inspiring hearing how you've been able to dive into sports psychology, because it's just such an important field. And I'm glad there's so much more awareness and help around that.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to just see how much sports psychology develops. I mean, even now, like on LinkedIn, I'm seeing all these different studies and all these crazy things that the human body is able to do. And I think our actual potential is just going to keep on elevating, which is so, so exciting.
Absolutely.
And I think that there's just more, you know, more talk around it. It used to be so taboo. Like we couldn't even say like the word like the yips in baseball, softball. They're like, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. But it's like, no, we have to talk about it to get over it, because now, like whatever is working, whatever you think is working is absolutely not. So I'm grateful that there's just more knowledge about it. People are talking about it more, and we're just working towards something really good. Like I think good days ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I agree. All right, let's go ahead and get cooled down here. So Reagen, let me see, if talent were not an issue, this is my favorite question. I may have to ask it every time. If talent weren't an issue, what sport would you love to excel in?
Oh, I don't know, actually. Probably gymnastics. I mean, I would do anything to be anything like Simone Biles. I think she's the coolest.
The number of people that say gymnastics is like so huge.
I think so. Oh, I mean, she's awesome. I mean, they're all
Yeah,
awesome. But,
exactly.
like, could you imagine just pulling that out as like a party
No,
trick? Like,
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. You'd be like the most popular person at a party. For party tricks would be for you.
Right.
All right. If you could invite 5 people to a dinner party, who would they be?
Oh, I think, gosh, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on his name. But he's the guy that coached the Bulls and the LA.
Oh, I know him
What's
too.
his name? What is his name?
I'm so sorry. It's so bad. He's really tall.
Oh, he's the best, literally like the best coach in
He's
the.
got kind of gray hair.
Yes. He wrote the book 11 Rings.
We are so gonna get like digs. I know.
Yeah,
I'll come
I know.
up with it in a second.
That's totally gonna get me. But him.
We don't know his name, but he's coming.
He's coming. He's coming to the party. I think John Lennon.
Like it.
Who else? Simone Biles. Who else? Oh gosh, I don't know. I can't say. I feel like I say her name wrong every single time. Ilona Mayer. Do you know who that is?
Oh,
The
love
rugby.
her. Phil Jackson.
Yeah. Oh yes, Phil Jackson. Yes. Yes.
Yes, the rugby player. That's who you're talking about, right? Yeah, she's
incredible.
I say her name wrong too, but she's
incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
okay, now that I had Tourette's. Wait, so we've got Phil Jackson.
Yep.
Simone Biles.
Yeah. John Lennon, because he's just awesome.
John Lennon. Yeah, we have to have a musician. Okay, we got one more.
And then I think Jenny Finch, just because she's the best.
Nice. That's gonna be a good dinner party.
Yeah. John Lennon's gonna be like, "What am I gonna talk about?" But that's okay.
Yeah, he can just sing. He can be the entertainer,
right?
Do you know what you're serving at the dinner party?
Probably sushi. I love sushi.
Ooh.
I don't know. Yeah, why not?
I don't know. That's kind of risky. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, Reagen, for being here. That was, I didn't know how that story was going to unfold, but I really was captivated by every single word, by everything you said. I'm really glad that you and I have connected. I think that we are going to remain connected for a very, very long time. So thank you so much for being here. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to share our episodes. Make sure you're following us on Instagram. Make sure if you haven't already gotten on the wait list for our app, which is going to launch August 12th. We are so over the moon excited. We have so much amazing content in there. Make sure you get on our waiting list. We're offering deep discounts to anybody who puts their name on that list, and we'll make sure we keep you informed the entire way. So thank you for being here. Have an awesome day, and make sure you share with a female athlete or coach you love.